Hello computer graphics students, we're getting ready to work with our Altering Photos creative project, and our first tutorial that I'm going to work with you guys with is about photo correction. So let's start with going to our photo correction page and open that up in Canvas, and then we're going to look at a couple of things to get going. The photo manipulation project, you need to make sure you have lesson 2. Lesson 2 is so important. Basically what you're doing in this creative project is you're going over what you've learned in lesson 2 and you're going to add a little bit more. You have brought in 5 personal photos for your use, and I do have some photos that you guys can also use. I'll show you where those are, and then let's take a look at our rubric so you guys can see exactly how we're going to be graded. So we're going to open this up. And then you guys can see that you have 5 photos that we're going to work with. Our first project is the photo correction. You get 10 points for each of these projects. The first thing with the photo correction is that you have several areas that have been refined using the healing brush, your patch tool, and your content aware. We're going to make sure that we save before and after. You're going to turn in all of these photos, and I need to be able to see your before and after. Your before meaning before you did your alterations and after you did your alterations. Your ideas are well thought out and executed. So you get 8 to 10 points if you've done all of these things. You get 7 to 6 points if your photo was manipulated, but I don't really see where you've clearly gone through and you've used your brush, your healing brush, your patch, and your content aware. You get 5 to 4 points if your photo was manipulated, but there's no before picture, so it can't accurately grade you, and it's not accurate. And then 0 to 3 if there's little to no effort. It's almost non-existent. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Okay, so we're going to see that here's your steps. Manipulate one photo that contains unwanted detail. Make sure to save the before and after. Save the finished project as your photo correction in your creative project folder on your H drive. And then all of these things you need to make sure you have. So let's open this up, and here are our steps. So what I suggest that you do is you take this tab and you move it over to your other screen so that you can actually see Photoshop and see what you're doing. I'm going to move mine over. In lesson 2, you guys learned how to browse in Bridge. So I'm going to show you how to open up your photos in Bridge so that you can see what all of your photos are instead of seeing titles. I also demonstrated that in your workspace, one of the things you could do in order for you to capture more workspace is you can move around all of your different elements on here. And I'm going to take this Learn, and I'm going to hit this double arrow so we can get rid of that. And now we have more workspace over here. So I'm going to go to File, Browse in Bridge. And now I'm going to go over to the Student G drive. So if you click on this PC and go to your Student G drive, then go to Art, Computer Graphics, go to the folder called Stock Photos. Stock Photos is where I put different photos for you guys to have access to if you ever need an extra photo. What you can do for this particular portion of this project is you can use pictures from the chickens, or you can use pictures from the photo correction file. So I'm going to go to the photo correction file. You can also use the photos that you have brought in. Like I said, when you bring in your own photos, your work is more meaningful to you. So I suggest using your own photos first. And the photo that I'm going to use for this particular project is this chicken right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and then minimize Bridge. And you can see my photos opened up. There's lots of different areas here that I can use for this project. I can remove spots from the glass. I can remove all of this area over here. I can remove this. I can change color. I can crop the picture, take this out. There's all different kinds of things I can do to make this a better photo. It's kind of an interesting photo because it tells a story, but I want to make it a little more pleasing to the eye. So save the before and after. So now I'm going to go to File and then Save As. Go to my Creative Project folder, click on this PC, go to your H drive, go to your Creative Projects, and then you can see on Canvas, I put Save the Before and After in your Creative Project folder in an additional folder titled Altered Projects. So I'm going to move this over. So I'm going to need to make a new folder here. And I'm going to call, and this new folder is called Altered Photos. And then I open that up, and then I need to name this PhotoCorrection Before, and then hit Save. Just hit OK. You can see this is a JPEG. It's okay it's a JPEG because I haven't altered it yet. So now I'm going to save it again. I'm going to go to File, Save As. Now I need to save the after. So I'm going to hit After. And then Save As Type. Click on here, and we need to save it as a Photoshop file. Hit Save. Okay, so now you have two pictures. So if I go back to my folders, I want to show you, I'm going to go back to this PC, go back to my H drive, and I'm going to go to my Creative Project folder, which is what you guys should have. Go to your Altered Photos. Now you have two photos for this section. Eventually you're going to have 10 photos here. This is a JPEG, meaning that I haven't altered it in Photoshop. It's just a flat file. There's no layers to it at all. And then this is a actual Photoshop file. This is your after. This is the one that you're going to be manipulating. Okay, so the first step that you guys need to do with this, after you have it saved correctly, is you're going to use the healing brush. So you know that each time, each one of your tools, if you hover over it without clicking, it'll tell you what it is. But your healing brush, your patch tool, your spot healing brush, all of that's located in this section right here. So I'm going to click on the healing brush. Okay? And then you can change the size of your brush by coming over here. And then there's a couple of little spots I'm just going to go through and remove. The healing brush is going to require us to hit Alt, click on an area that we like, and then drag over an area that we don't like. Let me blow up so you guys can see this a little bit better. So I hit Alt, click on an area that I like, and then drag over the area that I don't want. Once again, hit Alt, click on a good area, and then drag to take away the bad. Okay, so the next tool that you guys are going to make sure that you guys use is your patch tool. And I'm going to press and hold the space bar to access my hand pretty quickly. And you can see this spot right here. This is what I'm going to get rid of with my patch tool. So I'm going to click and hold and grab that patch tool. If you guys remember from the patch tool, you select the bad and then drag it to the good. So that gets rid of an area right there. Control D to deselect, or you can hit Select, Deselect. Okay? You guys can see that with this patch tool that I drug it to an area that was a little bit lighter, so I have some correction to do right here. I'm going to go to Edit, Undo, Edit, Step Back, and Control D to deselect. Now I'm going to try and drag this to a slightly darker area. So grab that patch tool. I'm going to select what I don't want. And then we're going to drag it over just a little bit more. Now Control D to deselect. And I still have some of a discrepancy here, but we can fix that. Okay, so the next tool that you guys can play around with is your spot healing brush. So we're going to grab that spot healing brush, and then the spot healing brush is a little bit easier because all you have to do for the spot healing brush is you just drag down a little bit. Spot healing brush is just a little easier. Okay, so just drag, and I'm going to press and hold the space bar to access the hand tool. And I'm going to come over here and use the spot healing brush for some of this area. You have to be careful about not dragging too much at once, because then you pick up too much unwanted detail. So I'm going to go to Edit, Step Back, because it just got rid of too much. It tends to look blurry if you use the patch, if you use too much of this. You do too much destructive qualities to your photo. Okay. There's a lot of texture in the bird's feathers, so I don't want to drag away too much because I don't want to get rid of that texture. Texture's good. Hand tool to move around. So what I would like for you to do when you work on your project is you're going to spend a lot of time on this and make your photo look nice. For demonstration purposes only, I'm only going to spend just a little bit of time on this. There's a lot more I could go back and do to this. The next thing that I want you guys to do with this project that you haven't done with your book is we're going to work with Content Aware. So in Canvas, Content Aware is number 5 under Steps to Photo Correction. And I give you plain steps on what to do, and I also, on Canvas, give you web resource so you can go back and look at another video on how to use Content Aware. I think they're getting rid of the seagull on a beach in the web resource. So with Content Aware, what I would like for you to do is take something out of the photo. And you can take out something that belongs, something that doesn't belong, something that you like but you don't really care because this is just a project. With the Content Aware, what I'm going to attempt to do is attempt to get rid of this little reflection from the flash. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to go through and get rid of the bottom of this tree. So with your Content Aware, the first step is to select an area. So I'm going to blow up on this so you can see it a little better. And then I'm going to use any selection tool to select the area that we don't want. So I'm going to go through and just drag and select. Okay. The next step is to go to Select, Modify, and Expand. And we're going to expand this by 10 pixels. And hit OK. So we just brought it out a little bit. Now we're going to go to Edit, Fill, and then Content Aware. Click on Fill and Content Aware. And hit OK. So you can see with this particular project, what it did was it took pixels from other areas and kind of made something up. Didn't turn out very good. So we're going to go to Edit, Step Back, and Control D to deselect. Let's try it again. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to grab the selection tool and try using just a smaller selection now. Then we're going to go to Select, Modify, Expand, 10 pixels, hit OK. Now we're going to go to Edit, Fill, and then Content Aware. That turned out a little bit better. Control D to deselect it, added an extra window here, but nobody will ever know the difference. I could do the same thing right here to get rid of this. This is an area where you want to work with just a little bit at a time in order